You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell him that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. Ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best show us some respect. 3-point threat, I better make it rain. If it's something, don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumping where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, Big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the refs just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostag. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever.
All right, shout out to the fam for all things Pelicans. You're now tuned into the Pelican post-game report. Much love to the fam. PPR representing the flocking nation. Stand up. Much love to you and Yearns on this Friday episode of the show, man. Much love to the fam. Hope you guys are doing very well out there. Do your boy a service by hitting that like button, hitting the sub button, and also feel free to share the show on social media feed. Much love to the diehard flockers out there. Big ups to everybody. Pelicans, Nola, Jaden, I see you, fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Much love, man. I see you, Young City 9. Big ups to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. This stream here, man, we did a PPR flash report earlier today. It was supposed to come out earlier in the week. We just released it today. But it basically kind of gave like a preview. We did a preview before, earlier on, basically about the Pelicans. We kind of revisited it based on what Sean, I think it was Sean Marks, who had basically did the breakdown and was talking from a monetary standpoint as well as other standpoints. But in the end, the key to it is all behind the man on screen and what he can do to help improve this team. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to cover some of the latest news and notes on this episode of PPR. So shout out to you guys. Y'all buckle up, and we're going to take you guys through a trip through the Pelican land and how we can turn our team around by putting some thoughts together about what the Pelicans can do to put them in a better straight. So shout out to y'all for being in the stream. We also have DC in the building as well. Lex will join us later on. DC, welcome on in, my brother. How you doing tonight? DC, are you there, sir? What's up, Robert? How you doing, sir? Big ups to you, my man.
Yeah, you muted me. I unmuted me. You muted me back trying to unmute me. But
Okay.
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little tired tonight. Just coming from up off the gym and thinking about the pills. And before we did this, I guess I was looking at it like we are in a new era. Everything we're seeing with the Saints, could that be a turnaround with the Pelicans in a positive direction? Following everything that's been going on with the Saints, with Kellen Moore and them coming in, I'm hearing a lot of stuff, to like, at least from my perspective. Could the same thing happen with Joe Dumars and the Pelicans? Are we doomed before anything ever happens?
Most certainly not. I don't think we are, DC. I mean, I alluded to the conversation about the Detroit Pistons on the PPR flash, where they turned it around in one season, bro. They were one of the worst. They were the worst team in the league, one of the worst teams in the league the prior year, and they flipped it around in 1 year and was able to get the team to the playoffs. So that to me is success. They've been struggling, stumbling, and bumbling. You bring Joe Dumars here, a guy that supposed to have a lot of stuff going for them in terms of of knowledge and winning a championship at a level, being a top 50 player in this NBA. So that's the approach, and to get kind of detailed with it, and we'll kind of introduce some subjects to it. And I want y'all to kind of put your thoughts in the chat as well, and put your VP GM hats on, and basically, realistically, tell us, in your opinion, how do the Pelicans turn this around? But like I said, they have a lot of assets, but the direction is definitely lacking. We'll see what they got going on. But yeah, DC, that's the big talking point. But I agree with you in large because of the Piston narrative, among others. This definitely can be turned around. You just have to make the correct decisions.
Most definitely, man. And we started doing that as well. Looking at but
You're going in and out, DC. It might
it
sound
is,
like you're going in and out, my brother.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Go
It
ahead,
just
go ahead and
sounds
take it over, man. I'm driving.
yeah.
I'm
Your
driving,
reception is
Q.
spot.
I'm driving,
Okay.
so just
All right.
take it over.
Okay, I got you, brother. Yeah, DC's when he gets closer to where he's going, we'll have him chime in on that. But he was kind of breaking up pretty badly. But anyway, let's move into tonight's broadcast, man. And we'll kind of bounce back and get DC's thoughts on it on PPR tonight. Let's look at. I wanted to share with you guys right here. This is basically this is coming directly from the Pelicans website, right? If you kind of glance over to basketball operations, this is the new people that were added in place of some of the people that are no longer there. You can see Joe Dumars, executive vice president of basketball operations. You see Troy Weaver is the senior vice president of basketball operations and team development. You see he's marked there. He's ahead of Bryson Graham. So it's Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver sits ahead of Bryson Graham. Then you see the senior director of cap and finance. And you see all the rest of the guys there part of the team. And of course, it's just a part of it. Also, Mario Ellie. You can see Mario Ellie is listed there. Mario Ellie was one of the Houston Rocket guards back in the day, and he was a guy that was did some positive things. I remember with Mario Ellie. But, this is the thing. They had some changes there, but as we kind of moved on down here to the athletic training side of things, this is where we'll have issues right here, right? In terms of what needs to happen. A lot of the shakeup needs to happen on this side of things right here, the athletic training situation, where a lot of doctors, people have to be brought in to kind of help out and getting the Pelicans more out of the Pelicans in terms of health, right? And a lot of these people, it's just, we need more or better people to come in there and kind of shake it up. I like Amy Atmore. We'll talk more about this as we move forward. It's a little bit more organized here, but just wanted to show y'all some of the stuff dealing with the Pelicans in terms of the hierarchy, in terms of looking at the basketball operations side of it, with a lot of movement coming in and out of the team. And that kind of leads us into what I would call is the direction of the Pelicans. And we'll start off, one of our talking points to start off is, what's the keys to success? Keys to success in playoffs for the Pelicans, ultimately leading in the correct direction, right? What do we need as a team to kind of move this thing in the right direction? What do we need? Well, number one, we got to fix the health side of things. We just talked about the health staff. That's a major component the Pelicans have to fix before we even get into even ask any other aspects. The number one thing that's really just stifled the Pelicans' development in terms of them being a consistent playoff team is the fact that the health side of things have been horrendous. And that's not something new. That's basically something that has been going on for the last several years with the Pelicans, dating all the way back to hell, Dale Demps and all these guys. It was just something that when Gail came in, she spent like a $250,000 kind of adding equipment and people, but that's not enough. And that's basically what Aaron, the trainer, one of the top trainers of the time, came over from Phoenix. That's what he told her that he needs. She spent over $200,000 on improving the staff, but that's obviously not going to be enough. We need them to spend more money there. We need them to make some moves and change things around. We need more people in that arena because it has not happened. We need to kind of switch it around. Amy Atmore did some positive stuff, but we need more than that. And I think that's where it stands. And Joe Dumars did talk about doing from afar. He was paying attention. This is what he was saying in the press conference when we was going over. Joe Dumars was talking about the fact that, hey man, we at current, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to look into that. I only know what I see from the outside looking in. I have to investigate that. I'm going to have to break. That's what he basically was saying. Me personally, I think, man, listen, man, that is the number one thing. If you're going to take off and get this team anywhere, we got to focus on improving the health staff of the New Orleans Pelicans. We have to fix that. That's number one and foremost. Y'all let me know. The next thing to talk about in terms of keys to success in playoffs, as far as Joe Mars do, number two is who leads the team if not Willie Green. Now, I don't mean to rhyme with it, but this is a thing that we need to kind of look up as well. Now, there has not been anything basically saying that Willie Green is they're going to go with Willie Green as the head coach. There's no official release. There's nothing official about anything right now. And you'll eventually, down the line, you'll hear of official moves and questions. They'll come out in press conferences. They'll issue statements. So we'll have more clarity of what Joe Dumars' vision for the team is. But as it stands, it's Willie Green. And there was rumors to the fact that he could be possibly moved up into as an administrator some kind of way. So that was rumors. And there's also, because he's sat in the corner at one of the Saints training in the Saints draft room, that was such and such. I'm like, nah, that's not. We'll see what happens there, because that's a big point of contention in terms of doing something positive for the team, turning some stuff around. We have to be able to pay attention to that and see how that goes, basically. But I mean, it's just going to be really interesting in terms of how the Pelicans go about making that change and fixing that, man. That's the bottom line. So we'll see how that works. Now, another talking point to that, and let's stay with this for a second, because I want to kind of build on this. The team we've had with Willie Green, it hasn't been it's been kind of up and down. Last year, a lot of people kind of grew tired of Willie Green, myself included. I kind of got tired and grew very tired of Willie Green. The team grew tired of Willie Green. Everybody grew tired of Willie Green. So, I mean, he lost the team. He called him soft. And like I said, Willie Green is the softest coach in the NBA. So that's a joke and a half for him to be calling the team soft. If they soft, he was the reason why they became soft, because of his stupid soft rhetoric and his mealy-mouth approach to physicality by calling it force and non-aggressive verbiage helped soften the team to what it was. So if it's soft, it's because of him. I mean, if you don't like how the team look, they're basically a projection of you. So Willie Green is in my opinion, the softest goddamn coach in the NBA. And if that is indeed the case, could you logically say, okay, we're going to reintroduce him back as the NBA coach? We don't know. But like I said, there are rumors saying that Willie Green there could be considered moving him up into the administration. Why? Because Gail Benson likes Willie Green just like she liked Alvin Gentry, and that's just what she does and how she operates. So if Joe Dumars could be very smart about it by simply saying, hey man, I can't get rid of him like I want to, but let me just elevate him up into and give him a job as an administrator, whatever it may be, just to get him away from being a head coach. That way I can get my head coach. Is that the thought process? We don't know officially. We'll have to wait and see what the call is on that. as well. And then, of course, the third thing is the NBA draft. These are three things. We ain't going to have it too long right there in terms of the talking points. But the NBA draft, right? What is the philosophy of the Pelicans and Joe Dumars, who's the leader, him and Troy Weaver, and the quiet one? What do they do here? Do they take or draft a young asset to help out with Zion, the Zion-centric Pelicans, or do they then take the draft asset, the pick, and trade it for a veteran to come in and help Zion right now? What's the philosophy that the Pelicans used as we're approaching the NBA draft? So you guys, like I said, y'all answer the questions. Those are the top three things that our thoughts on it, because there are more, but these, in my opinion, my estimation, are the top three things that the Pelicans have to deal with if they want to get success. And fam, listen, this ain't coming from some writer. This is based on years of covering the Pelicans on PPR. The Pelican post game report ain't just pop up here overnight. We've been here for over a decade, and we know about this squad. We've been following our squad. This is our real deal points of view on what is really stifling our team from being a perennial playoff team and possibly a team that can really be pushing for something deeper, right? And you can look at it because, fam, the Western Conference playoffs right now are two teams that at one point, right around when the Pelicans started making their moves and they are, to try to build forward, those teams are right there with the Pelicans starting their rebuilds the same time. People laughed at Minnesota when they traded for Gobert, and it helped them catapult them, and they've been in the playoffs, not in the Western Conference Finals right now. Very interesting. OKC started their build and did their thing. Look what they hammering ass, and they're a few games away from going to the NBA Finals. That's very impressive. And you put the fact that you kind of go down what Minnesota's doing. You see a lot of coaches and players and stuff that help them. And to the other side, you see the same thing with the Knicks. All these players, all these different Pelican players all over the place, coaches and all this kind of stuff. But in the end, it is very, and I'm not approaching from a negative standpoint. I'm saying we have to face down the things that are presenting or preventing us from being similar to some of these other teams and having sustained success to be able to be in the playoffs every year with an opportunity to compete and get an NBA championship in the city of New Orleans for the Pelican faithful worldwide. But these are some of the things. Now, DC, I'm a bounce to you, my friend. You sound like you're a little bit more stable in terms of your connection.
I got 5 balls now. I got 5 balls.
Okay, wonderful. All right, these are on the screen. You can see keys to success in playoffs.
Okay.
Now, all right. Now, what I want you to do is we're gonna start with number one. Give me your thought process on the number one thing, the fixed health. What are your thoughts about fixed health?
You know what? I thought about this. Obviously, we want them to get away from Ashna, right? But I'm not sure that's going to happen after they just ink the new deal. Having more massage therapists, physical therapists, people for treatment, things like that, I think that may be something they look to do. But the number one thing I think fixes the health is discipline. The Pelicans are not held accountable for anything. Like how many injuries, I mean, Trey and Herb, and DeJounte, those are freak injuries. Like what you gonna do? But all of these hamstrings and different stuff like that, man, those things are preventable, man. People who stretch and do the proper pre and post workout stuff typically don't have a lot of hamstring injuries. You have some guys that just, maybe that's just a weak point for them genetically and the way the Creator have made them. But a lot of the soft tissue injuries and stuff like that, I think that there's no accountability here. Well, I don't think that. I know that there's no accountability. This team isn't being held accountable in practice, and I'm pretty sure the same thing happens when it comes to their treatments, their training, and their workouts. Like, are guys missing workouts? Are guys getting all of those treatments? Because we heard Zion like basically never went to him, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he had a lot of soft tissue injuries, right? A lot of hamstring issues. So I think discipline is something that we heard Joe Dumars talk on, and I think a lot of times that helps injuries, if that makes sense. Because when you're disciplined, you're gonna have a strong mind. If you got a strong-willed, strong-minded team, typically that spills over into other aspects of your life. Strong mind, strong body, right? So I think by them focusing on discipline, it will allow them to gain an edge in the injury department and other departments, because discipline is such a simple word, but it really ties into all facets of your life. When you get disciplined with your eating, right, or you're trying to get physically fit, you're always looking for that next edge or a way to improve your current routine. And all the best players that we've seen, that we all watched over the history of basketball, that brought us to love this game, they all share one thing in common. They were all extremely disciplined. If they weren't, it might have just been a player you liked because their career didn't last long. So if Joe Dumars comes with the whole discipline talking points that he's speaking from, and he actually implements something that impacts that, which I don't know if we can get all that done this season, especially if we keep Willie Green as a coach. I don't know how you become a super disciplined squad with him as the head coach. But nevertheless, let's assume, or not assume, but let's say if they change the head coach and get somebody that can bring that mindset here, I think a lot of these injuries, not all of them, but a lot of them go away overnight.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's well said. I agree with everything you said about the health situation. I think you're right. Outside of, I don't anticipate the Pelicans getting rid of Oshner. You're right. We covered that a couple of months back when we kind of showed the family members that they read up with the deal with Oshner. Has to be a commitment. Um, like I said, adding, but doing things different within that and changing it up, even if you add and bringing new doctors in. I'm pretty sure that network has some doctors, some high-ranking doctors that you can kind of add to, even if you have to kind of reach and spend a little bit of money or pinpoint whoever you need to bring them in. That could be some, and also like you said, Zion Williamson not doing his thing along with the team. A lot of this could be changed and as a more commitment to it. I agree with that, bro. Let's go to the second key. How about who leads the team if not Willie Green? What are your thought process on that? Because that's a big point of contention with many people. If Willie Green is not the coach going forward, who leads the team
I,
if not Willie Green?
I think I spoke on this in our prior show where you weren't in with me and Lex. It's got to be Coach Bud or Mike Malone, man. It's going to be a coach that has a championship. I'm just going off of Joe Dumars' history. I guess maybe he didn't get Larry Brown as a championship head coach. He got him the championship, right? But it's an older guy that's going to be a lot more stable, a lot more sturdy, and that can instill discipline. It's almost to me going to be an older coach this time. I don't think they're going to go with a young guy, and I don't think that they would be wrong for that, especially if they understand their star player. We all knew since we did any type of looking into of Zion, Zion is not your average young or what do you call him, Generation Z type guy. He has a lot of admiration and respect for the history of the game and seems like older figures when it comes to coaches. Like his dad coached him, I don't think Zion had a problem with Stan Van Gundy. He loved Coach Krzyzewski with Duke. It seems like the more disciplined coach you hard type coaches or guys that'll shoot it to you straight that are probably not as player friendly or more rigid and rough, that kind of suits him well, you know. And I think that's the route that we're gonna take. And also Joe Dumars, that's kind of the guys that he went for. You know, I know maybe later in his tenure, you can look at that and say, well, not so much. I'm going off Larry Brown and Flip Saunders, you know, two guys that were well seasoned when they were coaches with Detroit. I don't see him firing Willie, who was inexperienced rookie head coach, and going with that same formula. Um, Talking discipline and wanting to build the champion and all this. They got to get some championship experience from somewhere. What better way to do it than with a championship head coach? A coach that's won a championship. Have we ever, as the New Orleans Pelicans, had a coach that won a championship as a coach? We had Byron Scott, who won one as a player. Who do we have won a championship as a coach? I don't think we've ever had anybody. And I think that would be probably one of the main things that he looks at, and obviously maturity in a guy that's been there, done that, seen it, and can be able to handle the Zion situation. And when you put those things into perspective, what better coach than a guy who coached Giannis and another guy who coached the Joker? What better coach could you get that could be prepared to coach Zion? I don't think there is any.
Well, DC, we had this discussion, man. We talked about it before, man, and I remember there was in particular you made a comment um, about Joe Dumars and a hire, a coaching hire, or something related to the Pelicans. I don't remember, but it made sense. I was like, yeah, you gotta let the family members know that. Do you remember that comment you made about the last coach that
What was
was?
the comment?
Do you remember the comment you made about the last coach that was? Uh, oh my goodness, I forgot it. But you made mention of the fact that you thought that a particular coach would be hired by Willie Green because of the fact that he commentated on he was on TV for the finals or something. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I told you, Mike Malone might be the guy, man. Because I think Stan Van Gundy had a segment where he coached. It might have been, I don't know if it was before or after.
Okay, hold on, DC. You going in?
There was a
You going?
connection.
Okay, say that. Say that one more time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit. I can hear you now. Okay, DC. Okay, DC, your sound is going back out again, my brother. Just hold tight with that. But yeah, I remember you were saying that about the NBA, and when you get an opportunity, when your bars, could sound like you kind of hit a rough area. DC's driving fam right now, so just be a little bit patient with him. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it all twists because this is the question: who leads the team if it's not Willie Green? And like I said, right, currently Willie Green is the coach of the team. There has not been any announcement made that they're going to keep Willie Green. Everything is speculative, right? Uh, you can't believe all of the stuff that they're basically saying, fam, because a lot of this stuff is turning out not to be true. And like I said, there was stuff that was said about demands for him to trade Zion Williamson. You're seeing that that's not totally true. The fact that there's now articles coming out saying the Pelicans will be committed to Zion Williamson. Now, is that 100% fact? We'll see how it all goes. But I don't see Joe Dumars putting Zion Williamson in the street. To keep it all the way funky with you, I don't see him putting Zion in the street with no clear course plan of action. Could possibly, I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, might be a small percentage of chance that is true. Me personally, I don't accept it. I don't think it happens. I think Joe Dumars wants to be able to see what he can do with Zion Williamson. Perhaps Zion Williamson, in his mind, was mismanaged. He did have a good he did was in the best shape of his career, but don't it gets to a point where it's getting money time right now. Not saying that if it don't turn around that he can't be on the block, because there were other players who were good players who the team just say, okay, we didn't give enough time, but we're gonna put him in the street. Will that be about something that happens right now? I don't have that sense, but I do feel the fact that Joe Dumars wants an opportunity to see what he can do with Zion Williamson and the team around Zion Williamson. And I think that a lot of that has to be the coaching. You have to get a reputable coach, head coach, who comes in, who has the hardware so that you can't say no to him. They have guys out there. Now, a lot of people kind of looking at Coach Malone, but and looking at him saying this, that, and the third. He's out there. You don't often find guys that do that, fam. I'm just gonna be all the way funky with you. You don't often find people that do that where next thing you know, these people are, you got a coach who's still in the prime of his career, 2 years off of a championship when they put him in the street, for whatever reason. You don't often see that. But DC, you're back, bro. Go ahead and finish your point on that Malone thing, man.
Yeah. No, I was saying there's something there with the Stan Van Gundy, maybe Mike Malone. They both had segments where they were, had some slight media coverage talking about the finals. And I was like, man, that might be a coincidence there that's worth looking into. But Stan Van Gundy, I remember he was on the finals talking, and then he wound up being the Pels head coach. Or I could be mistaken. It could have been he got fired. He was on the finals. So, that could have been something too. Mike Malone got fired. And, we got these good coaches. Let's get them to talk. But if I remember correctly, I do believe Stan Van Gundy was speaking on the finals. I know he was in the press box before he became a head coach, and then we hired him, man. So if a coincidence, a quinky dink, if it goes that way, then type of good luck. Maybe I'm just looking for something because I want us to hire Mike Malone, man. I think he's probably best suited for the job, in my opinion. I like Coach Bud. I think Coach Bud, due to his experience with Giannis, and I just see them as the type of guys that I think Joe Dumars would look to hire due to their experience level and him preaching discipline, which is going to be preaching accountability. And I know a lot of old school veteran coaches, that's kind of the mindset that they come from, because in that era of basketball, that's what it was about. Guys like Jordan Poole would have never got $110 million playing in the early 2000s and the 90s. Like, well, or whatever they were getting paid back then. I know it's more money now. But coaches wouldn't have played him because of his style and how hard up they are on discipline and accountability and running the plays exactly how you're supposed to run them, and this person's supposed to be in all this off script stuff, which I think can benefit the Pels tremendously, because we don't have an offense right now. Everything is off of quick reads. They don't call many plays. They need a little bit of that old school seasoning, man, and then maybe keep some of that freelance I guess type stuff that they do, or playing off the gravity of Zion, but put an actual structure or a system to where when Zion does sit down for a rest, or if he does get injured, we don't look completely lost. So they said that was their focus over the last 2 years, and to me, I've never really seen it.
Yeah, indeed, bro. And we talked about that. About even Willie Green is seen as a defensive coach, but Willie Green's defense, I mean, statistically talking, we went over it in the PPR press flash report earlier today. The numbers wasn't very good from a defensive standpoint. The defense is non-intelligent at times. They overcommit to size. They switch into mismatches in turn that benefit the other team. I was watching OKC play a couple of nights ago, and they were switching and doing stuff. But you've seen some of them guys push the guy back over to the side where he belongs. They say, "No, I got this guy." I mean, it's just no defensive intelligence, and that's supposed to be Willie Green's his philosophy, his thought process. He's a defensive minded guy. I just don't see it consistently. And then, of course, the offensive philosophy of the Pelicans is wanting. I mean, these guys, like you said, you called it very clear. It's just we need somebody with a better vision, a clear vision for what this team is. The whole talking point with him is the fact that, in terms of Willie Green, is that he simply, it's just he has not produced what is it? An offense that's respectable, that's intelligible. I mean, whatever Borrego told him to do, his defense constantly gets in the way of that. I mean, these weird rotations, these asinine depth chart moves at times during games that really stifle the team and work. He self-sabotages without even realizing. His feel for the game is laughable. So enough of that. So if you're Joe Dumars, you're a guy that won championships as a player and as an exec, that's 3 championships that you had in the NBA. Some guys went the entire NBA lives that became Hall of Famers, and I got one. Then you would definitely want your hand-picked successor to be a guy that has some championship rings too, a guy that been to the promised land. Like we know Joe been to the promised land. Coach Malone, Coach Bud, those guys have been to the
Hey,
promised land. You'll be all in on that.
right, build it up, man. You want to build it up that way. You got guys that know what it takes to get there. So
That's
from
right.
that point, a lot of the small things. Because I think the Pels haven't done a bad job at accumulating talent. Maybe putting
Right.
the right talent together has been an issue, but they haven't done a bad job of getting talent. So what I do notice, and what we all notice, is they constantly make mistakes on just doing the right things with the talent. And a lot of it is it's the small stuff. Like they completely suck at doing anything right when it comes to the little things. Small things like actually practicing and before the game in the arena if you're gonna play that at night. Like why are we on airline before the game in the playoffs at that?
That's
So
true.
they took them to make it to the playoffs again to know to do that. Like what the hell is this? It's just so many stupid things. Like the fact that okay, Zion is in year 6. Y'all hear Lex talk about it all the time, right? Zion is in year 6, and they're deciding to make him the face of the franchise. It took y'all 6 years to figure that out.
Slow.
Anybody with 2 eyes can see, as good as Brandon Ingram was, he would have had to take a backseat to Zion because he's that dominant. Now, if you want to be a hopeful of Brandon Ingram, you would have said he had to take a backseat in the way that Kobe took a backseat to Shaq. Okay, but he had to take a backseat. It was painfully obvious. And what do the Pels do? They string that whole situation along. They keep BI. They get the type of coach that fits BI and waste 5 years with Zion. So I think if Joe Dumars was here, I think if you had a different coach here and these type of things, I don't think that would have been a talking point at all. That wouldn't have been a situation. It would have been a given of what to do. Because it really is simple. It's not that hard. But, when you're the Pelicans, we make everything difficult. So hopefully those days can be behind us if we get a championship level coach in here. You got another guy who's over there with OKC, saw what they built. You see where they are, right? And he played a hand in that. And you
G
got
League
Joe
coach.
Dumars, who's a championship president of basketball operations, right? So I think they're headed in the right direction somewhat, but we're not out of the woods yet because all of this can quickly go downhill and not turn out that way at all. So things are still to be determined,
Indeed.
especially for the coaching situation. We don't know if we're getting that coach. Bro.
Right. It's just like we saying if it's not Willie Green, and like we said, once again, that rumor circulating that if Willie Green is could be considered for an administrative position. And it's like, why?
Have
Because
we heard any other news on that rumor, or was it just a one-time rumor?
it was just circulated at that time. And it was a very unique rumor if you think about it, DC,
Right? Who would
because
just make that up?
exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, that one there is like nobody would have came up with, okay, with that. Now you would hear Willie Green needs to be fired. We all know that Willie Green
Mm-hmm.
needs to get out of here. But who goes in the
Mm-hmm.
opposite direction and make a rumor that I'm hearing the Pelicans are thinking about moving him up into the organization? Why? Because Gail likes him and doesn't want to fire him. And if Joe Dumars is as smart as we think he is, he'll elevate him into his administration, give him a job that takes him away from being a coach. He's still a part of the team. That appeases Gale, but you find your head coach, Malone, Budenholzer, Taylor Jenkins, Sam Cassell, whoever the case may be, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to our third. Before we go to our third key, DC, let me give a few shots out. Shout out to Jessica. I see you, Jessica. Much love to you. Good to see you out there. Trevan, brother Trevan, shout out to you. Good to see you, fam. Appreciate you. What's up, Stephanie? Big ups to Steph. The Queens representing. Marley Mall saying, am I in Jamaica? No, I am not in Jamaica, brother. I'm chilling in the U.S., brother. All right. So there you go. Jade says, again, go get Mike Malone right now. Please, Pelicans, fire Willie Green and go get Mike Malone. So shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. I got a lot of people loving on Coach Malone, man, and I ain't mad at you, brother. All right, DC, y'all do us a service and hit that like button, fam. Also share the show. It also helps stream if you're listening. No matter where you're listening, if it's on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're listening to, please feel free to hit the like button and share the show's link with other Pelican diehards, man. We're talking Pels tonight. And of course, the third key, DC, NBA draft. What is the
Mm-hmm.
philosophy? What should be the thought process? What makes more sense from a Joe Dumars standpoint? Should we be pivoting to draft a young asset that can help in terms of Zion Williamson and add to what we got going on? Or should they go in a different direction? Because I've been hearing a lot of stuff, and I'm going to share it with the family members after we go through the last key.
Give me 1 second, man. Give me like 2 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, DC. Go ahead. I'm gonna break this down anyway. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead on and let you do your thing. And I'm gonna share with y'all this report right here. This is coming directly from Pelican site. A variety of prospects appear at the number 7 for the Pelicans in initial mock drafts, and they talk about all the different drafts that the Pelicans that they believe that the Pelicans, which players the Pelicans will take in the upcoming NBA draft. There's no other way to view Monday's NBA lottery outcome than as disappointing one for the Pelicans, which dropped 3 spots and wound up with the number 7th overall pick. While the Southwest Division counterparts, Dallas and San Antonio, claimed the first and second pick respectfully, despite relatively competitive 39 and 34 win seasons. But the main reason why the 2025 draft class has been so highly anticipated is the common opinion that the crop of available players is relatively deep and talented, even if most analysts believe the top tier consists of just a couple of players. At this extremely early stage of the draft projections, with the order being finalized for picks 1 through 14, less than 24 hours ago in Chicago. This is kind of a dated article back to March the 13th. May. The following are what NBA sites are predicting that the Pelicans will do with the 7th pick, as well as projections from the same sites on which players will be selected right before and after Washington or Brooklyn. Before Washington, after Brooklyn, the Pelicans, after Pelicans, Brooklyn. Pelicans may make their decision on the 25th, June the 25th. Comments and mock drafts are directly from their respective sites. Okay, so The Athletic says Con Newport, the Duke wing, will be the guy for the Pelicans. They'll be disappointed to fall in the lottery, but I love this slot for them if they can end up with Newport, a bigger shooter who is competitive and tough. He has a case as the best shooter in the class, along with Trey Johnson. I think Con Newport is a good shooter. I like Trey better, but I can see why you can throw him up there. But his overall game is much more impactful. Number 6 pick before them, Washington, he believes Derek Queen will go to them. And then the 8th pick behind the Pelicans, which is Brooklyn, that they'll snatch Jeremiah Fears, the Oklahoma guard. And then, of course, the next Bleacher Report go in NBA.com gives them Cayman. How you pronounce this kid? Name. I forgot how you. Moloch. Not Moloch. Hold on, fam. Let me see if I can
Yeah,
remember.
it's Moloch.
Mayuak. I think it's Mayuak. DC. I think it's Mayuak. But Mayuak pre Duke tape showed
Malawak.
Malawak. Um, Hold on, I don't know why you keep taking my screen down. Hold on. What's going on here? All right, there we go.
I'm
All right.
sorry.
No, yeah, all right. All right, so let me go back to it. But Mayuak tape showed more shooting range and scoring versatility and flashes of that during the draft process. Could start to entice teams further up the board. Team Fit the Pels got great mileage out of Eves Misi. But things go even further with Manuel. He could fill the same rim running role, ensuring the New Orleans has always has a bouncy big in the middle, but the hope is Manuel could one day add some element of shot making in the mix. Then the next one, CBS have Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina. The draft will take a turn here, depending what New Orleans does. It's an interesting, in my opinion. Murray Boyles is the best player available selection via the Pelicans are big, who's a dynamic defender with a crafty scoring style inside the paint. ESPN goes with Mayuak as well, the top defensive center prospect in the draft, who has an appealing mix of length, mobility, play finishing, and paint protection at a young age. NBA Draft.net says Trey Johnson, one of the best shot creators in the class, rarely sees a shot he doesn't like, and has the ability to convert on high or difficult shots. Adapt at the drive and dish, is capable of shooting off dribble and spot ups and off step backs, has great balance, and his effectiveness as a scorer isn't depending on getting to a particular spot. Guy's just a shooter. The ringer has Jeremiah Fears, the Oklahoma guard, as the guy there. With yo-yo handle and comfort with physicality, Fears refines his way into the paint regularly. The Pelicans have used some young blood in the form of an on-ball catalyst, and while Fears is a bit of a risky wager because of his shooting issues, his downhill ability and playmaking flashes have the highest upgrade at this slot in the lottery, right? SB Nation says Ace Bailey. When Bailey, the forward from Rutgers, the big guy out of Rutgers, when Bailey's hot, he can take over a game as a scorer, pure jumper. Few players can effectively contest. He also has a skilled mid-range scorer, made 46% of his non-rim two-pointers, with 73% of those looks being self-created. He has the athletic tools to recover defensively, showing solid supplemental rim protection skills and defensive rebounding potential. Then they got Kasparis Jack Jeffersonis. I know the man name. I just be butchering the hell out of these people now. But
Yakachunas.
Jakakunis. I'm gonna just say Jakutionis. It's
Yakachunas.
Jakutionis.
Yakachunas.
It's Jakutionis
No,
or
man,
Jakachunas?
Yakachunas.
DC, you sound like you screaming something from Italy, my brother. You're breaking up. But whatever DC say, KJ,
I gotta keep
you're breaking up. You're breaking up, bro. You're breaking up, DC.
like
Okay, whatever you
Yakuza.
Jaku Stoners.
I think I'm breaking. You won't be corrected.
I don't know. I'm saying you're going in and out, bro. I'm not.
Yakachunas.
Jakakunis. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So what they're saying, the most obvious need in New Orleans is another playmaker. I always screw these names up. He's among the draft's most talented ball screen operators. He won't wow anyone, but athletically struggle with some turnovers, but he's a gifted playmaker with a good sized position. A lot of people like him. I remember you was talking about him, DC, way back. But these are just some of the players, man, we're talking about that could be possibly available at the 7th slot. So anyway, get back to the third and final point, or the bullet point. NBA draft, young asset or trade for an older veteran to pair with Zion Williamson to expedite the Pelicans' chances of getting to the playoffs. What's the thought process here?
I'm not sure if they're savvy enough to be able to pull off a trade with just a 7 pick and get a veteran that will impact the team tremendously. Like, who will we get? What are we gonna try to call San Antonio and get involved in the Giannis trade? And try to get something out of that. You gonna call Philly and who'd you call with the 7? We obviously need backcourt help, right? I think getting starting center, but it would almost be like getting somebody really worth having to try to get a starting center. And a lot of I guess free agents are low grade centers you could sign that's gonna give you a higher upside than Yves Missi. So he really would be swinging for the fences for somebody. I think we're all right with wings unless we're gonna trade her. You still got Brandon Boston who can kind of play shooting guard, a little small forward for you if need be. They had him playing point guard, so he does a lot of different things. But I just don't see it, man. Who are they gonna swing for? Are we gonna try to get Devin Booker? Is a 7 pick and some other picks we have enough to do that? Like, who's out there? Who can we get? Will we revisit the Trae Young thing? I'm hearing whispers that he may still be on the move, or they may still be considering getting rid of him. I just see him drafting somebody with the 7th pick. And if I had to bet money today, right now, I think everything we hear about Malawak may be true. The only thing I heard Joe Dumars say in reference to any type of draft or anything, he was talking about double big lineups. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they drafted Malawak. Missi is not Joe Dumars' guy. I like him, but I think Missi still need a lot of work. Maybe that's why we saw Zion in a picture with Akeem Olajuwon. Maybe Akeem Olajuwon is working with Missi. Maybe working with both of them. We don't really know. So I like I actually like Jamar Fears, but I don't think that'll work for us. To me, he's like y'all remember Monty Ellis? He's like that. He's like he's not a marksman, but he can shoot a little bit. He's not quite a point guard, but not actually a shooting guard. He's a unique player. He's tremendously gifted athletically, but enough about him because I don't think we'll draft him. I could see him drafting Yakachunas. He's a guy that can play point guard for you, backup point guard, probably could start if need be. You don't know what he's going to grow into. He could shoot the hell out of the ball. He can play make. Obviously, Khan can nipple. I know. But with the way his stuff is, man, you don't know what these guys are gonna get taken. We picking 7th. You got 6 guys. Some of those names are definitely probably gonna get picked, but there's gonna be some that don't. Trae, I think, will be gone. I would be happy if they got Trae. That definitely will work, and you could look to move on from CJ McCollum. And hopefully he could be that type of player, but better for you. So it's a lot of things I think they can do. I know Philly, a lot of people think Philly are going to trade the 3rd pick with the Pels be trying to move up. Or would the Pels be trying to trade back? Maybe it makes sense to trade back and pick up some more picks. It's all over the place, man. But if I had to bet money right now, I think they would draft the 7-2 center if he's there from Duke. You got a guy who can actually be a defensive anchor like now. He's already, he's 7'2". He's like 260 pounds or something like that, 55 pounds. He's already a day one ready center. He can actually shoot a little bit. And he do everything right now that Missi does. And probably going to wind up being better at it. At least based off the rookie version of Missi we saw. People work on their game. Missi is definitely a hard worker. So you don't know what he's going to look like going into year 2 after working the whole offseason and having the year NBA under his belt. So he could surprise, but he's still 6'10", like 220, 230. He got to put on 20-something pounds of muscle just to be Malawak's size. So I definitely can see them doing that and trying to run a double big lineup, which obviously Misi would be coming off the bench with whatever other big you have out there. You can probably put Kelly Olynyk out there, and you got Trey, and they just roll CJ out there as point guard again, even though we know that shit don't work. Maybe Joe don't know that. But right now, I have no idea. Ace Bailey is the one guy that I see them not touching. Ace Bailey was supposed to be 6'10", right? Well, they measured him, during the draft, and to everybody's shock, he's actually 6'7". So, right. So the hype on him was always his potential and what he could become, and he's 6'10" shooting like this, and this guy can do, but he ain't even 6'10", so he's not even taller than Trey Murphy.
That's right.
He ain't even the same size as Trey Murphy.
It says 6'7.5", DC.
I think his stock is gonna fall. He might still be a top 10 pick, but I don't see Philly taking him with the 3rd pick. And then I think some of these people I'm mentioning, that kind of messes up everything for the draft order. Somebody gonna take a swing at him because I think the brother still can be talented if he go to the right situation and they develop him properly. Because basketball smarts ain't, that ain't in his vocabulary right now. Like his basketball IQ is not where it should be for a player with the talent level and what he could become. He got to be a lot smarter basketball wise. But I don't see the Pels being that place for him. The 2 Duke guys make the most sense, and then you already got a Dookie and Zion, who I'm sure probably could pull some strings if need be, and get a little extra information on them guys, because he still is connected to his fraternity, right? So, or his brotherhood, whatever they call it, right? Sorority. No, not sorority, alumni. And Con Knipple, I mean, shit, he probably the best. Him and Trey are the best shooters in the draft. Yeah. I'm missing somebody else?
No, you got him right there.
Yakachunas is a pretty damn good shooter too, but
they consider Khan more impactful in what he can do in terms of
more impactful than who?
Than Trey Johnson. In terms of
you know what, man,
his feel for the game and playmaking and getting guys involved.
I don't think that's fair. And the reason I don't think it's fair is because look what goddamn team he was on. You playing with the #1 draft pick and another guy who's gonna go in the top 10, along with you possibly going in the top 10.
He definitely going in the top 10.
Of course, he gonna look more impactful, right? If you take Knipple and you put him on Texas, does he look the same way that Trey does? I don't know. I hear what people saying, and I know my man Stacy probably floating around somewhere up in here. I am not sold on his defense either. I mean, you got a 7'2" guy there, and you playing with Cooper Flag. Like, of course your defense gonna look like it's solid or good. I'm not sold on him defensively. Not saying he's a horrible defender. I'm just looking at the speed of the game going up, the athleticism going up, and I'm not sure he give you a lot there. But he a shooter for sure. That ain't changing.
No,
and he definitely he do got a feel for the game, and I think the brother not a ball, but I don't know how going to the next level will impact him with he's not very athletic at all to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Trey over him, me personally. I don't know how people feel about that, but I actually like Trey more than Knipple. And if teams are actually as smart as I think they are, Trey ain't gonna be available for us to pick at 7 anyway.
No, I think there's somebody gonna reach at Trey and get him before he gets anywhere close to where we at 7. I think he'll be gone within the top 5 DC.
They
I
putting him
mean, I
like
think
a 6 man guy. I see him as more than that. I guess they just saying because like he don't have a lot of playmaking ability. He don't rebound a whole
right.
lot.
No,
Like
he's just a
stuff like
shooter. They see.
that. I get it.
Yeah, they see him as a shooter,
He a little
catch
more
and
than the
shoot,
shooter. I mean, he a scorer to me.
perimeter
Like he.
shooter, catch and shoot, threat, pull up threat. I've seen him play a little defense too, but that's how they see him, bro. Look at the comparisons:
No,
Michael
no, no. I
Redd,
mean,
AJ
Allen
Mayo, Allen
Houston.
Houston.
Allen Houston, I thought was a nice one. But Allen Houston, he was a shooter. But Allen Houston was more than just a shooter. Like you could give him the ball in the ISO and he get you a bucket. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the man can't create separation. Is kind of what I'm getting at. But his playmaking ability, all of that's to be determined. And some of these things, it's like what was the coach asking of him? With some of these guys. We don't really always know the backstory. Maybe all we saw scoring from him is because they wanted him to put all his energy into scoring. You just don't know sometimes, man. But I like his game. I think Trey is awesome. I think he has the ability to possibly be one of the guys out of this draft that can turn into an all-star.
Indeed, bro. We're gonna see DC. The draft is fastly approaching. The Pelicans will have to make a decision on what they're going to do in terms of philosophy going forward. These are the type bullet points and keys to success that we talked about tonight on PPR. Fix health, fix health of the team, health staff, recommitment to getting players healthy, players getting involved, the stretching. You make a good point about it's just the intelligence, overall intelligence of Willie Green's staff, and certainly it's him at the head. When they made the adjustment to go and practice in the arena prior to the game, and then they won, and then they didn't do it again. So it was maybe once after that, but it wasn't like you've seen positive results, and it just went away from it. So it's just like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you what's happening here? If you're going to practice in your own building, in your arena, and you got it like that, they're the number one tenant holders in the building anyway. You might as well go there and get used to playing there, practicing there. More on the regular. I thought that was a good stratagem. They just didn't keep it, and that's just like one of the things that Willie Green did. He rarely stayed consistent with anything except for pulling Zion Williamson out of the game. And I don't even think that was him. That was the tablet he was having. He was basically telling him it's time to pull him on up out of it. That's the only really consistent thing that I've seen from Willie Green outside of the inconsistencies itself. He was consistently inconsistent. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. But the fix health, and then the second bullet was who leads team if not Willie Green. We talked about the rumors of Willie Green going up, possibly being an administrator. Joe Dumars thinking about moving him up to the team. It will be a very intelligent way of dealing with keeping Willie Green, moving around, getting a coach that you want, whether it's a Mike Malone or it's Taylor Jenkins, Coach Bud or Sam Cassell, or whatever. It would be a good way of still getting the coach that you want and still appeasing Gail by keeping Willie Green on the team in the capacity where he does not directly have anything to do with coaching the team. So I think that's a rumor that was swirling. That was a very unique rumor, like we talked about here. And then the third thing, NBA draft, young asset, or trade for a vet. Some of these questions y'all can feel free once the show ends, y'all can hit the chat up and put it in the chat with the bullet points and how you guys would address that in terms of how how you feel about what will happen there. So with that being said, man, we're going to kind of move into the next area of the show because that's still to be interesting, man. But like I said, we did the breakdown of the Pelicans early on, and of course, we've been looking at a few of the news and notes. We heard about Eve Smeesey, what happened with him in terms of his act. But this is another room I'm gonna share with the family members involved. And if it's not Zion Williamson, it's gonna be somebody else. And now this is coming from MSN News that they're talking about uh, potential trade rumors. All defensive star pinpointed as valuable trade target. And this is by a writer from MSN News and Sports. The Post reports rumors that all defensive star pinpointed as valuable as a trade target appeared on Clutch Points. With the season over, the Pelicans rumors are the club could make some trades this offseason. Joe Dumars running the show now. Buzz is growing that all defensive star Herb Jones could be a valuable trade target in the market. Brett Siegel reports that numerous teams could be offering Pelicans some sort of trade package for the 26-year-old forward. It is said that Dumars plans to build a roster around star Zion Williamson, and Jones could be a key piece for New Orleans to maximize value. This comes despite Jones dealing with a labrum tear this offseason. Rivals teams are once again pinpointing Herb as a high-level offseason target from New Orleans Pelicans, source said. David Griffin, who was a huge fan of Jones' two-way potential, is no longer running things in NOLA. As Joe Dumars has inherited a roster he will need to make decisions about, starting which players who they have around Zion Williamson. Jones is currently rehabbing from a labrum tear in his right shoulder. Yet a lot of uncertainty surrounds his future with the Pelicans under Dumars' leadership. Herb Jones is coming off another solid campaign, showing off his defensive skills and potential to becoming a legitimate two-way player in the NBA. Pelicans forward finished off the regular season averaging over 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3.3 assists, almost 2 steals and a half a block a game. He also shot 43.6% from the field and almost 31% from downtown. New Orleans owns the 7th overall pick in the 25 NBA draft. He gives the team an opportunity to add an exciting prospect to the roster for next season, considering the Pelicans finished the 24-25 regular season campaign with a 21-61 record. It's possible that the front office makes dramatic moves to the roster to build for the future. It's likely while Jones' name continues to swirl in the rumor mill. Nothing is for certain just yet, but the NBA's draft kicking off on June the 25th. The Pelicans certainly could make big moves in the coming weeks. So there you go, a little talking point, or rather, about Herb Jones and rumors circulating, and that'll be the case with a lot what's going on with the Pelicans situation. When you don't win, you hear all this other kind of stuff, and it's just par for the course. You've heard a lot of it about Zion Williamson, we heard all this kind of stuff. But it is going to be an interesting season regardless, fam, because it gets to a point where you just got to step out there, you got to handle your business. So this is the Pelicans roster right now. As you can see, Pelicans roster right now, and we'll get it on screen for you. 25 roster is showing you a couple of these guys here. Hold on. Get it right there. You go. And as you can see, it shows DeJounte Murray. It even shows some of the money right there with some of these guys. DeJounte Murray, 31.5 plus million. The point guard position, you can see CJ McCollum with just under 31 million. Herb Jones at 13.9. Zion's 39.4. East 3.3. That's the 5 right there. And not potentially, but we know what they're trying to do. Jose Alvarado off the bench, 4.5. BJ Brandon, Boston Jr., 2.3. Jordan Hawkins, 4.7. Trey Murphy, 25 mil. Kelly Olynyk, 13.4 is there as well. And then Antonio Reeves, you can see him 1.9, not much shaking. Elfrid Payton is there with 3.1, and Lester Quinones, who is 636 grand. And then you see the free agents restricted are Keon Brooks, aka Timo Naji, which the man actually played pretty decent, so we got to give him some grace on that. Jamal Cain restricted, and then the unrestricted guys, Bruce Brown and Jeremiah Robinson Earl, are unrestricted. So that's some of the players right there going forward. And like I said, man, we still have a bunch of young players that doesn't show some other players, how some of our young guys are backups and stuff like that. But this is who they're looking at in terms of key personnel coming up for the Pelicans this upcoming season. So we've had an opportunity to go over this. DC, are you back with us? All right, I don't hear DC. All right, so we had an opportunity to kind of go over this and kind of walk in. I just want to kind of give y'all guys an opportunity to take a look at potential, what it's looking like for the 25-26 season. Like I said, the Pelicans have some really good players. We have some talented players. A lot of these guys are going to be ready. Some of these guys, be ready for the upcoming season. Some might be a little later on in the season, but we'll have some of these guys ready to go. We know DeJounte Murray is going to, be the longest of us, of him to kind of get back there. We know Herb Jones and all those other guys and should be ready to go. And we'll just see how that all shakes and folds. But we know that we have talent on the team. We just need a vision and the correct coach to kind of lead the way, so to speak. And potentially the Pelicans team could change, but in what manner? You see, what is Joe Dumars' vision? What is his blueprint for success leading this for the Pelicans going forward? So what's the shakeup here? Got to be something. You can't make it all bring the same look into the upcoming season. It's got to be a change of some kind of. All right, DC, when you're ready, bro, you can holler. All right, what's up, Darwin, Knoxville? Shout out to you, brother Slim. I see you, man. Appreciate y'all being in the chat, man. Much love. All right, to it. Darwin says trade CJ or Murray. Okay, well, Murray, I got you, bro. Appreciate you there. All right. Yeah, it says Jaden asks how did ESPN have Ace Bailey fall? I
Yo,
think
can
DC
you hear me?
explained that as well. I hear you loud and clear, bro.
All right. Yeah, man. Dude plays so much like Najee. Q. I don't think I can change it until he set his self apart. Can we? We could upgrade the Temu. We can call him Walmart Najee.
No, I mean, Wishap Najee. I think
That's
the
worse than
worst one.
Temu, man.
Yeah. So it's Wishap, Temu. What's Amazon Najee? No, that's a little too much. But y'all help us out. What's the next level from Wish app is terrible. Wish, Timu. What's the third level from up? Whatever the third level is, DC. That's his. that's his nickname, bro.
Saks fifth Najee. Huh?
The Saks fifth? No, brother. That's way too high up there. That's way too high up there, brother. Yeah, that's a big jump from Temu, DC. Come on. What's that? Alibaba.
Man, all that's worse than Temu,
man. Alibaba is worse than Temu, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. We'll see, man. Yeah, we'll see. But comment on the depth chart, bro, before we close.
Well, obviously, we need 3 people at minimum. We got 15 spots you got to fill, and then you got your two-way guys, right? I think that's right? Is it 16 or 15? I don't remember. But you got I guess they bringing Keon Brooks back, so call the man by his name. I don't know why John Kane is there. I don't know about Robinson Earl, man. I think that depends on if Willie is the coach. If Willie the coach, you know JRE coming back, which I don't think JRE is horrible. It's just a lot of Willie's faith he had in him. Like JRE ain't overcoming every. Oh, we in a buy and we about to do something. I know what to do. I'm gonna put the lineup out there with JRE in it. Nah, Willie, that ain't it, bro. But who are our free agents? Because our current roster as constructed, there's no way we can just roll into the season with this. We need a point guard, right?
Well, unrestricted is Bruce Brown, DC, and Jeremiah Robinson.
Bruce Brown is gone.
Restricted is Brooks and Jamal King.
The best we could hope for with Bruce Brown is getting him in a signing train and signing a trade, some type of signing trade to help us.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's the best we could hope for with him. But right. I don't see any reason why John McCain would be back.
Jamal King, John
McCain, Joe McCain, whatever. It don't matter.
John McCain is a dead politician from Arizona, brother.
Exactly. I know that's what I meant. That dude trash, man. It's over.
We had so many hopes for Jamal King, brother. You were speaking highly of him at the start of the year.
Yeah, because I saw what he was capable of and athletically what he had, but man, the way he cooked with it, he just be burning shit up. Not in a good way. So I don't see any reason for them to bring him back. And like I was saying, DeJounte is going to be injured. Herb might still be injured at the start of the season, as well as Trey. So it's like, man, it's almost like the Pels need to go ahead and pull off a trade for a significant player, man, almost a co-star for Zion at this point, because you can't ask CJ to carry that even if you want to keep him for one more year. CJ is not a number 2 guy. We all know that. He could give you some games where he looks like a number 1 for a game or 2. And he'll give you some games where he look like a number 2 for maybe 10, 20 games, But his position, he should really be that number 3 guy. And I don't think we would hate CJ as much if we had a point guard and he was a number 3 guy. Might have to actually like CJ. Yeah, I don't think you're ever gonna like that $30 million we paying him, but as a player, I think he'd be very effective in that role with an actual point guard, them running a better offensive system where you allow players to capitalize better off the gravity of Zion. I think CJ could be awesome. Yves, is he really going to be our starting center again? By default,
if you put Malaga, but if you throw in Malaga, if you think the team is doing this thing for Malaga, and you're basically camping, because I asked you about like, okay, if it's Eves was the pick last year, I can understand you having 2 centers, but if you, like you saying, the Pelicans are facing a situation where some of these guys are simply not going to be there. So how does that fit in your draft plans, knowing that DeJounte Murray's not going to be there? That's why a lot of people are going with Jeremiah Fears as the guy. You know, looking at DeJounte Murray, you're not going to get him back until later than everybody else. Trey Murphy, Herb, they'll make it back, you know. But, you know, DeJounte Murray, that definitely has to fold into your philosophy going into the offseason and then definitely into the draft. You got to think
I'm not drafting to fix something like that. That would be stupid. You draft to get the best possible prospect you can get, because your drafting should be about the future, not about the fuck-ups of the previous administration.
It's not an F-up that DeJounte Murray is hurt, DC. I'm saying there's
it is an F-up that DeJounte Murray is hurt, and you didn't have any type of backup plan for a backup point guard. We never really had a backup point guard.
But that's
we needed one for like 5 years.
But that's the old administration as going forward, looking at, okay, we got this guy. This guy's not going to be available till later on in the season. We're talking about probably way later. So if this is indeed the case, that has to fold into your philosophy. You're working with a lot of money. Now, you do have a couple of exemptions.
You got a lottery pick, man. I'm not drafting anybody in the lottery specifically to be a backup point guard. If I draft him at number 7, that's my point guard of the future.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
But it's still a need regardless of how you look at it, brother. That's what I'm saying, because even who's to say that eventually when DeJounte works his way back, at some point somebody gonna get traded, a spot's gonna open up. Whether it's I would put CJ McCollum getting traded, and as opposed to DeJounte Murray getting traded. So at some point, a spot for a guard position is going to open up one way or the other. So, that's what I'm saying. That's why a lot of the people are picking Fears the point guard as opposed to somebody else.
Fears would be horrible.
What you mean, no? That's what they're doing. That's what they say. That's the rationale.
It would be horrible. It won't work.
How would you appease the situation, DC?
Why would I pick?
I get that, but let me ask you this. I want you. Okay, you disagree with that? Let's pivot to this. How would you fix that? How would you then be about the business, and understanding that you won't have DeJounte Murray for a long time? It's $30 million player, by the way.
Man, go give me somebody like
let me finish.
Okay, you asked me how.
Yeah, but I'm fair. Let me lay it out for you. I'm asking the question that how do you
about to lay out.
Okay, go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. All right, go to it. You already know. What's up, Strider?
I'm going, and I'm gonna go pay a little bit of an overpay or see some money. I'm gonna get a competent point guard that's a vet. Like, I would entertain the idea of bringing Chris Paul back under a reasonable contract. If I can't get him, give me somebody like what's my man we wanted? Malcolm Brogdon. I'll go see what he doing.
That's incredibly expensive, but they're expensive, DC. Those guys don't work for cheap.
You can get them guys
$10 million. Bro. Oh man, come on, bro. Chris Paul ain't. Come on, Chris Paul ain't gonna work for $10 million.
10 to 8. What are you working for right now?
I know it ain't no $10 million.
$10 million.
Don't tell your ass no. What team is he on? What is what he was to? He
San
was
Antonio. Go
with the
look.
Spurs.
He ain't getting that much.
Okay, let me look him up, brother.
$10 million for a vet ain't that ain't really a lot.
But he gave them that because that's them. It might be different. Yeah, he had 10.4. So you
he
think
get the Pelicans the same? Nobody ain't paying him over that.
But why would you go? So
you're not a full-time starter for the whole year. That ain't what Chris Paul is anymore.
So the way you fix.
I wasn't finished though.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Okay.
So I'm gonna get a Chris Paul right now. If there's a guy in the draft that I really like at point guard, it even makes more sense because I can help him to groom him. Like I thought this was a good idea, even if we were able to get Dylan Harper. I thought we still should sign Chris Paul. And you get somebody to look what he did with Shea. Chris Paul helped Shea a lot. Look what he did with our guy over there in San Antonio last year. What's his name? Castle. Them dudes, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of guys that played behind Chris Paul for his point guard position were pretty solid or good.
Yeah, SGA.
And the SGA was with Chris Paul twice. He was with him with the Clippers and with the Thunder. So you can't look at that dude and tell me Chris Paul didn't have an impact on his game.
Bledsoe.
I can't say he messed up with Bledsoe. Bledsoe was good until his athleticism wasn't exactly what it was, and he just couldn't never shoot. He could never shoot, and he wasn't going to be like no pass first point guard. That just wasn't what Bledsoe was.
Chris Paul is 40 years old, bro.
One season, Q. It's just one season, man. And I really only need him for like half the season or the first 3 months. After that, I just want him to play a mentor role until Murray get back, right? And then from there, you could draft whoever you want. I fixed that hole. You could draft whoever you want, right? And I would get like a guy maybe in the second round. No, we don't have a second round pick. Thank you, Devontae Graham. But maybe an undrafted free agent or something, somebody with some potential that I could kind of have Chris Paul, take under the wing, man. That's a real legit point guard potential. I'm not looking for him to be a shooter. I'm not looking for him I want him to be a playmaking point guard. I know the league kind of get away from that, but I think that's what the game missing. That, and we see what the reemergence of the big man is. So we see the big man reemerging, people going to twin tower looks, double big looks. What's next? We going back to playmaking point guards. Because if you want multiple bigs out there, what better way to maximize that? I like Minnesota, but they ain't going to get past OKC. You know why? Because they don't have a goddamn point guard.
Well, Conley's old, man, so... Yeah,
you get what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Right. If they had a point guard, it'd be a different situation.
It would definitely be that.
Shea a whole nother animal, though. Shea a shooting guard and a point guard. Like, you do it.
But McDaniel had him that first half of the game until his fouls started accruing.
Well, you know how that go, man. And
he had him on shutdown
right now with them fouls. He the new James Harden right now.
He the James Harden, exactly.
I don't know how long his run gonna last, but he got that on lock right now, bro.
Right.
I wouldn't hold my breath thinking you're gonna beat them at the free throw line. Then they coach actually not scared to speak on him not getting fouled and all that. Like, pussy ass coach. But with all that being said, man, I think Chris Paul, a guy like Malcolm Brogdon. I don't know who else is out there. You got the free agency list up here. Let me see what you got up here. No, that's our list.
That's our list.
But yeah, man, I'm looking to get a seasoned point guard. I want to make life easy for Zion and Trey, and kind of see what that look like. And from there, I'm drafting the best player available. If that's Malawak, I'm taking him. If that's Trey, I'm taking him. If that's Con Knipple, I'm taking him. I actually like Derek Queen. I don't know how we make that fit without a point guard. We definitely have to get a point guard if we think about doing that. I'm taking him. But what will the Pels do? We need a point guard and we need another center. We need an actual center that can be a defensive anchor. Because I'm not saying Messi won't ever be able to be that, but he's definitely not that right now. And that's what we need. We need a point guard. We need a center to be a defensive anchor. And we always need more shooting.
Okay.
So any player in the draft that checks one of those boxes, I would consider taking. And even if we take a point guard as a rookie, I think you still need a veteran point guard. Somebody you can tell DeJounte gets back, or maybe you hoping Alfred Payton can be that. You know, I wouldn't hold my breath on him being that for 4 months, 3 months. I think he'd give you a nice little spot for like maybe 15 to 10 games or so. And then you're going to be, kind of looking for something else. Although I like Alfred Payton. But, I mean, he can't shoot at all.
No,
and his defense is okay at best, But he a hell of a passer.
Yeah,
and I want him on the team. And we can definitely use him. But, it's a Band-Aid. Because he is who he is. His game ain't changing. Maybe he can help pass down some of his playmaking abilities to other players. But if to me, like teams I've always seen that are good, I don't think you can ever have too many point guards. When I say that, I just mean like 3 or 4. Those guys are usually intelligent, and they always seem to make the team better. So I would bring in another point guard, man. I know you got Jose. I know you got Alfred Payton. I know you got DeJounte Murray. I still bring in another point guard even if I draft one. And then from there, it's another big, and we need another shooter. I don't know if they want to bring Lester back or they think he's enough. But I would try to see some type of way of getting another shooter, depending on if I didn't draft the shooter. If I drafted the big, then I know I got to get a shooter. If I draft the shooter, I got to get one more big. I have to get a defensive anchor, preferably a vet if I don't draft a big. Somebody to show Messi how to defend the paint. Messi has all the tools to be a very good defender in the paint, but he's not there yet, and I don't think he's going to be there next year. So we still going to be getting layup lines run on us. And Joe Dumars is smart enough to understand that because he actually mentioned it and started talking about double big lineups. Now, does he envision...
That's a good point about the double big lineup.
Right. Does he envision
you're right.
a double big lineup of Messi and Kelly Olynyk? I don't think that's what he meant.
Not a double big. That's not a double.
No, I like that lineup. Don't get me wrong. Kelly Olynyk is dope. I just don't see him as like. I don't want to be a starter. Huh?
He's a one. You got 1 year left on his kind. I don't see him as a future piece with the Pelicans.
I would have
Carlo Mekovic. You still got Mekovic.
All right, I would have Carlo Mekovic connected at the hip of Kelly Olynyk, and I would be trying to turn him into a version of that, his own version of that, right? Because Carlo showed he can space the floor.
He's got a really nice offensive stroke to his game. Real comfortable.
He's very athletic. You know what I'm saying? I think he would have had a ton of alleys if Alfred Payton would have stayed playing, or we had another point guard or two. He's got a lot of promise to his game, but you kind of trying to see, okay, can Carlo eventually be a starter one day or a fringe starter, or is he forever just going to be a dude who gives you, that energy off the bench? We don't know. But I would have him connected at the hip with Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk's an intelligent basketball player. He's got a nice offensive game. If you want him to go out there and score, he can do that for you. But he ain't giving you a lot on defense other than just, being where he's supposed to be intelligently, and you can get you a steal here or there. But he ain't no defensive anchor, So
the model I picked, I'm not mad at that. At first I was like, okay, you're looking at that. I understand that.
Look where we at. We in the West with Victor Wembanyama too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. We talked about that last year, though. That's been a situation now. This year, finally, we're getting back to business where we want bigs that can defend the paint. And what he did, I was very impressed with his rookie year.
You want to know the
Having
sad part though, Big Q?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you keep going, I gotta just say this, and you could finish it. The sad part is Malawak might not even be there at 7.
No, the sad part
That's
is
the
he's not
sad
going
part. Somebody could draft him before 7.
That's true.
7'2" dude who could shoot. What? Man, us not getting a top 3 or 4 pick at least. This is gonna be one of the worst worst things we looking back on it.
This could be a situation. I don't know what's going on with Joel Embiid, but Philly could be a landing spot for him, buddy.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with
even if
Philly.
they have Joel Embiid. Like, why wouldn't you I could play him and Joel Embiid.
Right.
What's stopping that?
Right.
And then they could go real small with their backcourt if they want. Doing that, they can, because the little fingernail polish dude, he was balling, man. He was balling before he got hurt. And you got Tyrese Maxey over there. They could put both of them in the backcourt and play with Paul George. They could.
Yeah, they got some people.
Probably won't. That might not be the smartest thing to do, but they could run that lineup. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, they definitely need having a big like that, because you don't know what you're going to do out of Joel Embiid. I could very well see, there was rumors saying that too, though, is that could be a situation where he might go to Philly after it, because they're looking beyond, the future. You mentioned Jared McCain, is what you're talking about, McCain.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. I can't remember nothing past the TikToks when he got a fingernail polish line. I can't get over.
Yeah, but it's like you got guys like Paul George who make $49 million, can't really be counted on. Tyrese Maxey is the future. Him and McCain are really good players.
What if they draft Conker Nipple? Because they need a dude who could play 3 or the 2 or something.
That's true, but what's the biggest need though? I mean, with Joel Embiid's health and all the stuff that's going on with him, you might want to pivot and get that guy. I wouldn't risk losing out on having that.
I mean, if I'm them, I'm getting somebody, whoever that is, that I think can be a star. If that's Malawak, whatever, they don't know if Joel Embiid is ever gonna play again.
Right.
How many times do you think you're gonna pick top 3? I'm gonna take whoever I think could be a star. Maybe they think Ace Bailey could be a star. Maybe they think that's Trey. We don't know who they.
If MB is a question mark, I'm taking my wife from Philly.
What about Derek Queen? I think Derek Queen, just as a offensive player, he's light years ahead of Malawak and a bunch.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't have him going up that far.
He looked like Zach Randolph to me, from not the Blazers Zach Randolph, but the Grizzlies Zach Randolph. Hitting them long shots, gonna work you to death in the post, gonna do it all without a bunch of athleticism, and gonna play solid D too. Like Zach Randolph to me. But is that what Philly's saying? I don't know.
I mean, we gonna see, DC, because you got a point. I don't think the kid's gonna be there at that spot. That's the whole point.
And what is San Antonio gonna do though? That's the $1 million question.
What else?
They got De'Aaron Fox. They got Stephon Castle, and you take Dylan Harper. How that work?
You gotta move around, brother. They ain't gonna pass on them.
I could see Fox and Harper working. So what, they gonna trade Stephon Castle? You gonna try to trade Fox and keep Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper? That would be the smart move. But who taking De'Aaron Fox? Who wants De'Aaron Fox? Where does De'Aaron Fox want to go? If we get involved in a trade with Milwaukee, is De'Aaron Fox the dude that's going to Milwaukee? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. That's up to them to decide. We see some of the mocks have that we see going. I got one on the screen right here, which is kind of showing you that they're gonna have to find a way to look. A lot of people said that Harper going to easily end up with San Antonio. So, it's
VJ Edgecombe too. What if Philly could draft him? They could see him as People be comparing him to Dwayne Wade and stuff. I don't see it. I mean, he's
I don't see
athletic,
that.
but I don't see
I don't
D
see
Wade.
Dwayne Wade. No, I don't see Dwayne Wade. I like
What's his comp?
I like
What's his comps right now?
comps is
That's
Chris
why they're
Dunn,
saying D Wade because of the
Darren White, Kentavious
White.
Caldwell Pope, Victor Oladipo, Eddie
Katavious
Jones.
Caldwell Pope. I don't see that.
They got Eddie Jones on there.
That's not a bad comp, Q. Except Eddie Jones is a lot more. Eddie Jones is way more polished, though, man. He had way more in his bag.
Right, grown man game with Eddie Jones, man.
Yeah, but Eddie Jones was a high flyer at one time.
Yeah, but that's the Edgecombe got game, but I don't see
Eddie Jones was actually underrated, man. Eddie Jones was really good.
For real.
If Kobe didn't come about, he probably would have still kept that 2-guard spot. Eddie Jones was really good, bro.
Yeah, Kobe changed Eddie Jones' life, no doubt about it, man. Yeah, that was big. Came in LA, then he got shifted out to what was it, Hornets, you know.
Was it Memphis? It was the Hornets?
Yeah, Hornets. I think it was the Hornets. But anyway, we got the link in the chat for the family members. We won't be doing an extremely long calling section. But if you want to chime in with thoughts on the Pelicans tonight, now's the time. We'll be doing it for about an hour before we shut it down, man. But we just want to talk at you guys about Pelican talk. Please do us a service, hit the like button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. PPR in the building, representing the flocking nation. Stand up in the thing. Y'all do us a favor, hit that like button, man. We're going to bring a few of you guys in. If you want to talk Pels, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Hit the link and come on in and let's talk some Pelicans. Like I said, we'll be done for about an hour. So if you want to get in now while the getting is good. Because in about an hour we're going to be gone. And that'll be the end of it. But, we got Jaden.
We got my man Jaden in the building.
Jaden gonna bring Jaden in. Jaden, how you doing, sir? Much love, brother. How you feeling tonight?
How y'all boys doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good.
Good, brother. Good.
All right, bro.
Jaden, we done to talk to Pelicans, my brother. What do you think about some of the talking points, man, or the bullet points we put out before the Pelicans? We were talking about unveiling Joe Dumars' blueprint for success. We covered some stuff. What do you think? That give me 3 things in your assessment of what the Pelicans need to do to get success here, and then maybe we can have a Pistons turnaround. With all this linkage between New Orleans and Detroit, perhaps we could have a turnaround similar. How do you think we get there?
I don't know about that one, bit too.
Okay. Well, how do we get there, Jay? 3 things, my brother.
Just see real quick. Trying to think the one real quick.
Damn, my man said he's trying to think of one.
Nah, not DC.
Go ahead, brother. You got it. You still there, Jay?
Still there, Jay?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Nah, yeah, to pull out your notes, huh? All right.
My mic keep breaking up right now.
We hear you now. You good?
You hear me now? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it said DC. I mean, Big 2. You say you want 3 things of what the Pelicans need to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, 1, send Willie Green to Cancun.
Send him where?
Send him to Cancun. All right, let me be for real. I'm just joking around. 1, I think we should trade the 7 overall pick for a superstar player. Well, a player that can help us win right now, because what us did in that 7 overall pick, we're kind of stuck in the middle right now. 1, we're not getting one of the top players in the draft, and 2nd, we're just stuck in the middle right now because, we're not getting none of the top players or nothing like that. So I think we should trade the pick and get an impact player, whether that's a center or a point guard, whatever. This amount that can help us win right now, so we can compete with the man who's going to be getting Cooper Flag, Kyrie, Luka Doncic. We're dealing with Wemby. I mean, this West is shattered with so much. So I think we should trade a 7 overall pick and they'll get an impact guy, or trade it for what DC or one of y'all said earlier for some draft picks.
Okay. I mean, it's I mean, those are not bad ideas. I mean, um, in the end, I mean, the DC guy he thinks about the big. And he convinced me about the big. I did like Queen. I thought Queen is a pretty good player. For whatever reason, I know as we continue to move forward to the draft, I think his stock might climb. I know the Duke Center stock is climbing too. I mean, his stock is climbing. But at the end of the day, the Pelicans can definitely use some of these assets, the big and the point guard. They can always use shooters. We talk about that all the time. Um, you know, the whole monetary situation is kind of fidgety too, DC. What we got going on here, man. You know, that's also something we got to figure out. And the health staff stuff. There has
We
to be
still
something
have
said about the health staff.
what them
You have the
exceptions though,
exemptions.
right? Yeah, we
Do
got the
you do have the
exemptions.
exception? Yeah, you do
We need
have
to make
those.
something happen with that.
All right, Jaden. What else you want to add to it, my brother? What do you think about the injury situation in terms of DeJounte Murray? You see any player that the Pelicans should trade to create assets outside of? I heard you said trading the pick, but what about any other players? Which player do you think the Pelicans should move out in or put on the trade block to bring somebody? Any particular player that you think
The
we
only
need
the
to move
only
on
player
from?
out the only player I would trade is Season McCollum because Trey season while he still has some value, like a little value still in the market. Because if you don't trade CJ now, I guarantee if the Pelicans do what they did with Ingram and did wait 100 years, they're not going to do anything for him. So I would trade CJ as soon as possible and get as many assets as you can instead of waiting 100 years and did nothing for Ingram when you got Bruce Brown and Kelly in a top 4 pick from Indiana. I mean, they ain't nothing. So I would CJ would be the player I would trade, put on the market.
All right, Jake. Man, listen, man. Thanks for calling up, bro. We appreciate you, man. Dropping some science, man. We also appreciate you, brother, for being in the stream and being supporting the channel and being energetic and 10 toes down, fam. We appreciate you, my brother.
Oh, no problem. And before I get out of here, can we hit the secret contract real quick?
All right, super contract. There you go.
Secret contract.
Good one, DC. All right. Have a nice night. Have a nice night, y'all.
Thanks, Jade. Appreciate you, brother. Much love to Jade, man. Thank that young brother, man. Always representing the chat, man. Much love to that brother. All right, Crucified Light said, where y'all been? We've been around, brother. If the Pel's healthy, y'all think we make the playoffs? DC, that's a yes to me, brother. I think the Pel, if health, you mean you got a full season of DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, and all these guys. We don't have any injuries. Brandon Boston's in there too, DC. He was dealing with something as well. But if we have these guys healthy,
yeah, he was
no
dealing
doubt
with tanknitis.
Yes.
The same thing Zion had, you know.
Right. So at the end of the day, man, if they're healthy, no doubt about it, I think the playoffs, the playoffs make the playoffs, no doubt about it. Though. Thank you,
I don't think it's no doubt. I think you could be very much a doubt about it. If Willie Green is still the coach, man, I think we can make the playoffs in spite of him. Yeah, but
in spite of him.
Well, would it be because of him?
I mean, you said in spite of. I mean, him being there with a healthy, full Pelican team will not stop them.
You think him being there would help them?
I'm saying that they make the playoffs. I'm answering the question straight up. I'm saying that if the Pelicans, if health is not an issue, and you have Zion for 82 games, and everybody else for 82 games, no doubt in my mind, that the Pelicans make the playoffs.
Like I said, you think Willie Green being there would help them?
I'm going to say it again. If health is not an issue, the Pelicans, I just told you they make the playoffs regardless. If health is not the
question. That's not my question. I asked you a simple question, and you keep acting like I asked you shit. And you went off with answering your question the regular way.
I gave you the answer. It's the same answer.
But that ain't what I asked you. That's not the same. You're not even answering the question. It's a yes or no question. It's very simple.
What's the question, DC? What do you want to know, sir?
If Willie Green is still the coach of the Pelicans, does he help them? It's a very simple question.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because it don't in DC it don't matter because they're gonna make the playoffs if health is not a concern. If you got Zion,
You are a liar. Why are you up there lying like that?
What are you talking about? It don't
You
matter.
Green gonna help them?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You just won't stop. See, you during the season, you adapt and adjust, and you see what's going on. But in the off season, bro, you just go back to loving Willie.
No,
what is this?
No, it's not Willie love. What I'm saying is, it does. Regardless of
last off season,
DC,
we kept telling you
it doesn't matter.
Change.
It doesn't matter. And y'all,
Joe Dumars gonna change?
I gave you roses.
All right,
let me your roses.
Well, not actually, because the way you answering this question, you might as well just take all that shit back.
Okay, I'm saying it doesn't matter if health is not an issue. The Pelicans going to make the playoff regardless of Willie Green's there or not. So it doesn't matter. So I can, you know what? I'm gonna say no. Okay, it doesn't matter. No,
you don't have to
okay.
Say, you don't.
No, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna change my answer to no.
You just
no,
want to
okay?
end the show.
No, I'm telling the truth. It doesn't matter.
You don't have to say no, but I'm just saying, like,
I answered it, bro.
There's a lot of teams there, man. You got at least 10 really good teams, bro. Like if we healthy, but we don't gel, or Willie Green is just stomping on the toes or something, he could definitely, cause us to not make the playoffs. I'm thinking like the Pels gonna definitely be in the play-in. I know they would for sure be there, but am I really banking on them being the sixth seed with Willie? I don't know about that shit. It ain't like no question. I don't know about that shit. They'll definitely be in the plan, but depending on who we playing, we could get got.
Okay.
That's our garbage ass coach. Then people start breaking out the real philosophies that they've been not doing all year or doing in spurts.
My point is,
and we gonna come with the same shit we've been doing all year. No adjustments, nothing new.
If you have Hurd, Trey, Zion, all these guys for the if health is not an issue and you got them for the great bunch of the season, it doesn't matter about Willie Green. I mean, because that team is talented enough to at least get an 8th spot in the playoffs.
When you get the 8th spot, you still got to play in the play-in, Q.
Hey, regardless if they go through the plan or not, I'm saying they make the playoffs,
okay.
DC.
All right.
Okay, regardless. So that's what I'm saying.
I like your faith that they make it. You just was no doubt and no question. That's what I had a problem with. It is
I'm saying they make. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to tell you that, regardless of what happens, they're gonna make the playoffs, whether Willie Green is there or not. So I don't understand what you want me to say.
I know you're ready to go. Let me leave you alone.
No, it's just all good, bro. It's all good. Whether Willie's there or not, they're going to make the playoffs. Now, a lot of people want to see the Pelicans fail, so fire Willie Green. Well, that's what a lot of people saying. If the Pelicans fail, a lot of people want the Pelicans to fail, so Willie Green gets fired. But it's not a far-going conclusion that Willie Green will remain the head coach. Like I said,
even if he get them to the playoffs and he get bounced again, like in the first round, it's still a wrap. Because I mean, come on, man. Ray Charles, they're not going to do well with Willie Green.
You're right. Now you're right. Now getting to the playoffs, that was the question that was asked. I'm answering the question that was asked, which was getting to the playoffs. If health wasn't an issue, I've answered that. You turned it into something else. When they make it to the playoffs, they're gonna get mollywopped by whoever it is because Willie Green don't have any philosophy or strategy to defeat anybody. So no, you're gonna get wiped out.
I was cool with your answer. You saying yes, but when you was like, yeah, no question, undoubtedly, and all this shit, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of doubts there. Hold up.
No, it's no doubt. You got the doubts.
You think they're gonna get there, but it ain't like this shit 100% facts. Like, they just gonna blow through it, man. I'm like, Willie Green could throw a monkey wrench in this shit. 0-27 Q, should I remind you?
I get you. But if injury is not a problem, the question was if injury is not a problem, that's what happens. They'll make the playoffs. Now, when they get to the playoffs,
wasn't a problem when we was 0-27 in them clutch games.
DC.
We was a healthy team that year.
I
Now,
said
we
what I
made it to the
said, bro.
playoffs though. We made it.
I said, and when you get to the playoffs, you're gonna get wiped out. Because that's Willie Green he's not a guy like
So
that.
you
He's
mean
not
the
no
play?
playoff
You mean the
coach.
play in? That's what you mean. The
No,
Pelicans are for
playoffs.
sure going to the play in.
When you get through the playoffs to the play-in, I mean to the play-in to the playoffs, you're gonna lose in the playoffs.
The play in ain't kind
You're
of the
gonna get
start of the playoffs.
no. I don't care about the play-in. You're gonna get through the play-in to the playoffs and will lose in the playoffs. I've said it 2 times in a row now, DC. You're a smart man. You should have gotten it the first time.
Oh no,
That's
I
how I
got it.
see it.
I just don't understand your reservations about not having doubts about this shit.
I simply don't, brother.
I
I think
understand you
health is
think they're
not an
gonna
issue. The
make it, but
Pelicans
it's
gonna get
like
there.
I don't know how you so confident after everything we watched.
Brother, call it wisdom, call it experience of seeing it for a long time.
I don't trust
Ain't no
Willie Green
doubts.
in no close game. Any game within 8-5 to 2 points, I don't trust. That could very
Okay.
much well easily be a loss.
I hear you, brother. Hey, man, it's all gravy.
Well, I'm not so sure they
Like
just
I
make it
said,
out
I don't.
playing, you know.
Like I
I don't
said, I
know.
think we'll see what goes on here. I really, we talked about this to start it off with Willie Green. It's more than it's just the fact that the man did lose the team, and you can't ignore that. At some point, you're gonna have to address it. You're gonna have to do that. You got to figure out a
He
way to
lost
do
his
it.
mind too.
I mean, listen, man. Yeah, that raccoon mask, dog. That raccoon mask was on thick, boy. At the end of that season, boy, I was like, this dude here looked like Pinocchio or somebody. That boy had a one of them
And then he was
Beagle
in the
Boy masks on.
he up in there in the Saints draft room when he should have been in somebody coaching academy or something. Up in the Saints draft room, wasting time.
Sitting in the corner, right? Sitting in the corner, ain't saying shit.
They ain't
What you
giving you
need
no
to be there
confidence
for?
on what he about to.
When you need to,
Oh
what you
man,
did? We could have watched it on TV with everybody else. You need to be sitting up in there. Come on, Willie here, sit in this corner and shut up. He's sitting there looking nervous as hell up in that corner, boy.
I can't believe they let me in here. I asked them. I thought they was gonna say no.
Yeah, he brought him some coffee. That's the hell happened.
Let me
But
not mess this up.
so anyway, man, what we saying is, obviously, I agree with the faithful that Willie Green should not be coaching his team. If Joe Dumars is really serious about change, you don't turn the team over to the man that lost the team. You simply don't do that. You have to find somebody respectable. Now is the opportunity for us to do that. We'll see how they handle it. That's a big bullet point for the success model here for the Pelicans to start turning things around. We can't keep playing around with ghosts from the past. And guys, we give them plenty of opportunity. You had 4 years to do something. We're not impressed with what happened the last 4 years. That's why the guy that hired him is fired. And that's why he needs to be removed, whether you fire him or promote him up out of the team because Gail won't allow him to be fired. Hey, man, whatever you got to do, but we got to get the right coach. And there's several out there that fit what we want to happen. They got impressive resumes, and we can really get one of these guys out here. Never seen that before. What happened with Coach Malone, Coach Taylor Jenkins, having these guys available with all the success, and these guys very much still in their prime. Coach Bud's out there. So there's a lot of people that will get positions that, hey, coach, we can't play around with Willie Green. So we'll see exactly how the Pelicans handle that as we get farther into the offseason, the draft situation, all that's coming up here. DC, what's your thoughts on it before we get on out of here? Lala says we need someone like Mike Malone, so he called the players out. Yes, indeed.
Right.
Strider says,
I
is it a rat or is it he says, is it a rat if it's in the house or is it a mouse instead of a rat? So I guess he said it doesn't matter, right? Is that what you're saying, Strider?
If it ain't talking, it's a mouse.
Because it don't make a sound. Now DC is
If
quiet as a
it
mouse.
ain't talking, it's a mouse.
Quiet as a mouse. All right,
It's talking, you got your rat.
But that's the talking point. But go ahead, DC. Go ahead, man. Before we shut it down.
Yeah, man. Regardless of how I spoke on the Pels previously, with Big Q triggered me with the Willie Green. I think we need to make like an advisor.
Oh, I triggered you.
Yes, you did. I channeled my intellects, but we need to make an advisory, dog. Like warning.
An advisory.
Yeah, like warning. We're about to mention Willie Green. Like he just,
Why?
It should just kind of blindsides you because anything that you think they could possibly do good, once I hear his name, it just brings back instant trauma of the whole David Griffin era. You just go back to thinking of all the blunders and all of the missed opportunities. And for me, the main thing I think of is the fact that before Willie Green was the coach, we were right there. Well, no, OKC probably was in front of us in terms of draft compensation, but we were that team. We had more talent than them at the time. And we had like 17 something picks or something like we were right there. With just what we could be. We were the most promising up and coming team. And then we got Willie Green as our head coach and held on to David Griffin. And now we here talking about if we healthy, would the Pelicans make the playoffs while OKC about to go to the goddamn finals.
And Minnesota, by the way,
Minnesota was like in a basement under us.
Right, and they are playing the OKC in the Western Conference Finals right now.
And Toronto was coming off a championship trying to rebuild, and they were hot trash. And so was Indiana. Wasn't very good. Indiana's going to the finals. And the New York Knicks wasn't worth shit either. Because they were supposed to get Zion, remember? Man, look how things have turned. So, when you say Willie Green name, man, it just brings back a lot of trauma. I understand. So we need an advisory for when we're going to mention him. Warning, mentioning of Willie Green. We need to flash that at the bottom of the screen or some shit, man.
Maybe I put
give me a heads up, man. I won't cut you off next time.
I'll do a siren sound. I put a siren sound effect there before we mention it.
Willie Green.
That's what to do before we talk about Willie Green.
Martin Luther King, Willie Green.
Cut that out. I said
that. He's non-violent, Q. That's one of the main reasons why we suck, man. Everybody coming to poke us around and slap us upside the head, and Willie just, all right, guys, just keep doing what you're going. Turn to the other side. Your right cheek hurt. Just turn to the left cheek. It's all right.
No, man. That's a wrap on that. That's dead. All right, Jaden wants to pop back in. Jaden, I'm gonna let you pop.
You got something to say?
Yeah, pop back in quick, bro. Before we get ready in the stream, man, we're gonna get on out. Hit the link, bro. I'm gonna let you say your word right quick. Yeah, Denzel says Martin Luther King Green. That's something DC great, bro.
DC Martin Luther King Green.
That's just insulting, bro.
Non-violent. Love, compassion, and joy.
He plays with force. He's a Star Wars guy, DC. Everything's about force with Willie Green. He's a Star Wars guy. No, he don't. Because he talks about force a lot. He wants to be a Star Wars guy. But every time he mentions force, he's talking about we need to play with more force. He's studying the force. He ain't never graduate. I think Willie uses the force through his nose.
He is not a Jedi. He is not a Jedi. Q. He one of them dudes that been trying to become a Jedi for a long time. He ain't never make it.
That boy Jaden to clean up after the Jedi. All right, we got Jaden gonna pop back in for a quick second. Go ahead, Jaden. What you got, bro?
Oh, I didn't want to pop back in real quick and say, if I want to steal something real quick from Mr. Jury, I know he's in the chat somewhere. Bid 2, DC.
What's up, bro?
Rise up to fall down.
Oh, Lord.
Rise up and get Willie Green dumbtail out of here before I send the chance to. And real quick,
we done triggered Jaden.
What did you say?
I say we done triggered Jaden. The mention of Willie Green, they did do this to you, man.
Man, I don't care what it takes. Along with Willie Green, not the head coach. I don't care what it takes, whether we fire him or put him in management. I don't care what it takes. They don't want to be not the head coach. I don't care what it takes. But I want one more thing before I hop on out of here. Again, if I'm the Pelicans, trade a 7 overall pick and Doe did Ja Morant.
You think it's that simple though?
No, I'm not saying it that simple. I know nothing to
You're
just
gonna need
take.
like 4 of them.
No, I here's what it would take for me. 7 overall pick, obviously. Caesar McCollum, a couple of the role players like John McCain,
They gonna
That
want Herb. If you're getting Jada, they gonna want Herb.
if I had
Straight
to
up.
choose between it, all right, how about this? If you had to choose between Herb and Trey, who will you choose?
I'm
To
taking
give away.
Trey. I'm gonna take Trey.
Take Trey. Me too.
Okay, that's a tough decision right there. If I had to pick between those two to give away for Ja, that's a tough decision.
If
But
you getting any type of superstar, they off top. They gonna ask for Trey, but they'll settle for Herb and a bunch of picks.
I mean,
Yeah,
He
I'll
got
probably.
him
I
slices,
mean, I said that's a tough decision. I'm gonna put the right there. That's a tough decision right there. But I'll go with her for me to give away because Trey is just have developed his game so much. I don't know if I can give him away right now.
Name me a
I wouldn't give
6'10".
Trey away, DC.
Name me
I
a
thought you said
6'10", a small forward that can shoot on all 3 levels and borderline is a borderline all-star that's in the league. And then if you can manage to find somebody else, name me the times that they got traded for. Because everybody be like, oh, Paul George. Well, Paul George was trying to leave in free agency. And he ain't
Paul
exactly
George,
6'10".
that man's old. He can't do nothing no more.
49
Man,
million.
no, any team in the NBA that has a Trey Murphy is not trading him.
Yeah, you're right, DC.
You ride that and see where it go, bro. You don't know what that's gonna turn into.
That'll be Herb going all day, man. Herb be packing bags all day, brother. Trey ain't going
But
nowhere.
I'll find another Herb before I find another Trey.
I need to ask you another thing real quick, DC and Ben too. When the Mavs and Spurs got the number overall pick, like before y'all came on live, what were y'all reaction when you saw them two teams swoop up in there and got the first and second overall pick? What were y'all reaction? I want to know that real quick.
Rick.
Yeah, the same. I was like, oh, that's the Luka trade. I was like, oh, Luka trade, AD trade. I immediately thought, even though we got the first round pick, we mentioned it on the show when it happened. It was like, man, they threw us a bone because we traded AD.
Yeah.
Now the Mavs, I think that was overkill. They could have gave him like pick 2 or something. Like they already a stacked team.
It's funny. When I saw that, it was my reaction. I'm sitting there in my room watching the draft lottery with my brothers and my dad and my mom over here. And when I see the Mavs and Spurs did the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, I was about to tear something apart.
Why?
I'm just joking. I'm just playing DC. I'm joking. But I would just. Because I'm saying that's a slap in the face, man. That's a slap in the face.
You thought we actually had a chance at getting it, really?
No, I didn't say. I knew we would not. I knew we were not going to get it, but I thought we would at least got top 4. And I thought NBA would at least earn the top 4 pick because we didn't start tanking until like the last 2 weeks or so of the season when the Jazz and the Nets and these teams and the Wizards have been tanking from day one.
Mm-hmm.
When we've had these soft tissue injuries just pop out of nowhere, basically, but it's not surprising though. But it's like it's a slap in the face, just because. So now we have to deal with Cooper Flag and possibly Dylan Harper, and let the Spurs trade the pick, which I'm assuming they would for Giannis.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. I mean, I when I seen how it fell with Dallas and San Antonio ended up with the top 2 picks, that automatically put 2 of the best players in the Southwest. That made your job even more difficult.
Yes.
But, so it's something that they have to deal with, and that's what we're here trying to discuss it. But go ahead, finish your thought there, Joe.
Yeah, but if the Pelicans want to compete in the West and compete with these now powerhouse teams with the Spurs, the Rockets coming up, the Mavericks, and at Memphis, if they decided to Ja and build around him, we gotta if Joe Dumars did a hell of talent. He gotta make some trades. He gotta sign some free agents if he want to compete with these boys. If he don't do that, we are in a hell of a lot of trouble. A hell of a lot of trouble. We are in deep trouble.
This is true. Jay, thank you once again, my friend. Thank you for that, man. Listen.
No problem. And one more time, Rise up to fall
To
down.
fall down. That's right, to the Falcons. Thank you, Jay. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, rise up for fall down to the Falcons, man. Yeah, DC said, see what you started? Yeah, I've been that's something I talked about.
Man, we gotta put parental advisory. We got black the whole screen now. Parental advisory. Willie Green. We about to mention Willie Green.
I put the siren on, DC.
Yeah,
Be
you
like,
gotta give people. You gotta give people a chance, man, to kind of.
I be sounding sirens all damn show. That's because his name's gonna pop up because
We ain't gonna have a show when Lex get here.
this is gonna be a long siren.
You gonna leave the siren on.
Just leave it on while Lex talk. You let it go. All right, but anyway, with that being said, DC, last thoughts before we close out, man.
Well, everything aside, man, the Pels are in a very interesting situation. This is definitely coming up to a crossroad. Like, I think next season is going to be a very pivotal point. They're trying to figure everything out this year, but next year, you one more year with the Zion contract, and you're going to have Herb. You're deep into his contract. You're going to have to decide whether, you're going to be re-signing him or moving on from him. CJ is going to be off your books. Like, it's a very big offseason next year. You got what is the Indiana pick, and looking at what Indiana doing, we don't have a draft pick next year. So looking at what Indiana's doing, it's going to be a very pivotal point. So what they do this year, how they decide to move forward, man, for the sake of us being able to watch Trey Murphy blossom, seeing Zion actually hit that peak, and seeing the Pels be a winning organization is hinging upon what we do this offseason. Because if they swing and miss this offseason, I hate to break it to you, family, the way that the West is stacking up and how good everybody's becoming in the West, we probably headed for a rebuild. And when the Pelicans rebuild, that shit take about 10 years.
DC, bro, you're 100% right, man, because the rebuilds, like we keep talking about OKC and Minnesota, they started around the same time we did, and look where they are today. They both playing each other in the Western
It's not too late for us to turn around, though.
It's not. You just got to keep making, you got to make the right decisions.
Yeah, but it takes some really intelligent decisions, and it can be done, but they can't swing and miss on this offseason. When I say swing and miss, I don't mean they can't make a mistake here or there with a player they get. Maybe they draft a player that's good but doesn't quite fit or something. There's still marginal room for error, but they can't just swing and miss on the whole offseason. Like, when we start the season, we ain't got nothing but Temu players and this one draft pick who's just a role player and may give us something, but not really much. Then, unless somebody turns into supernova, DeJounte Murray comes back from injury and becomes a 10 times better version of himself or something, it would really take a miracle at that point. They need to either land a huge trade or nail a for sure stud in this draft. If not, maybe more than one, because the talent level and just the abilities of the teams in front of you in the West and the up and coming teams, man, everybody has almost a brighter future than us right now.
This is
other than maybe Utah might be the only team that don't.
Well, Utah's, yeah, but the Pelicans are
even the Blazers. The Blazers,
they're coming, bro.
Yeah,
the Blazers. That's not the laugh at the Blazers.
Man.
Yeah, the Blazers on their way, bro. The Blazers play the Pelicans. They're very competitive every time they play.
We can't look at the schedule and we won't be able to tell if we have an easy schedule or not. No schedule will be easy for us.
I mean, you'd be able to knock off Utah, but these other teams like Portland, they're coming for you. Dallas, they're gonna keep their floor as well. And the San Antonio, Wemby's there, and they're getting Harper, and they got all these other players. Man, Spurs did what the Pelicans were supposed to do: draft well, and trade well. And the Pelicans sit up here looking as stupid as they are. So it's time, man. It's either shit or get off the pot. That's what it is.
What's up,
Shit,
Tasha? We see you. But
shit, or get up off the pot. That's what it comes down when we talk about the Pelicans. But
yeah,
anyway,
and you still got Dallas and the rest of them, the Lakers. You got, man, you go on and on. The Clippers might be flaming out at some point. I don't know how long they can sustain, but
still can get the Pelicans a run for their money
yeah,
because
the Rockets, the Warriors.
Rockets on
I think they're gonna figure something out to put something around Steph Curry before he retires. So man, it's just so many. It's at least like 10 teams, man. That you got to be leery of. So, like I said, no, we do the schedule show. We don't know if we have a good schedule or not because no game is gonna be easy. The only thing, if the Pels swing and miss the offseason that can save us is if we'll move to the Eastern Conference. If they swing and miss on the offseason, we gotta hope they move us to the East with the expansion teams, bro. I mean, that's the only thing that'll be able to save us. But nothing has happened yet. We haven't made no new additions. We haven't made a trade. We haven't drafted anybody. So with all of those things still there, there's still a strong chance, man, we can do this. We're gonna, I guess, do some more digging with our draft stuff, and we'll come with some player comps. Or obviously, we got to do a couple of draft shows, and then we got to start looking at people that can fall that we may be able to scoop up. The undrafted guys, we've had success with that in the past.
And between now and then, DC Pelicans, we'll be hearing more from the Pelicans too. Because at some point we'll hear from Joe Dumars or Troy Weaver about the direction.
I mean, what do you think we're gonna hear? I don't think we're gonna hear anything until after the draft, man. They're gonna be quiet during the playoffs and all of that.
I mean, this we'll be hearing stuff coming out from
the draft is what, August, right?
No, the draft is in June, bro.
It's in June?
Yeah.
It's right after the finals. That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see how it goes, man. But in the end, all I can say, bro, is that they got to do something, man. They can't afford to sit back like we've been sitting back and just the Pelicans are in a precarious situation because of the fact that all these other teams are getting better or realized. Like Minnesota and OKC are all realizing their potential.
Minnesota's in a weird spot where they could take a step back though, Q, but it ain't gonna be that far long as they got Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, they got a bona fide guy. That guy's only gonna get better.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, man, we just have to watch in DC and see how it goes. But man, Pelicans got to step it up, man. They done ran out of excuses. They done ran out of flubs and errors and all this kind of nonsense. It's time to prep to get up off the pot, man. That's the bottom damn line. It's the bottom line. So that's what I got. That's what we got on today's show. 2 hours strong, man. Shout out to Jaden for popping in. Much love to the flock for being here tonight, man. PPR representing the flock and nation, dropping true science about what the Pelicans are. What's the blueprint, the game plan? We will know in the near future where Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver, and others seek for the Pelicans going forward. So with that being said, as far as you're concerned, please feel free. Give us a like, give us a sub if you're not a sub, and share the show on social media through PPR. And we're representing the flock and nation. We'll be back next week with more shows, covering more of the draft prospects, and of course interviews, whatnot, from the Pelicans, talking about all the rumors, trade rumors, and all this kind of beautiful stuff as we keep this thing going. So with that being said, man, me and DC, we're going to holler at y'all at the next time. Much love, fam. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night. Peace. And I'm about to say who that, but go Pels. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican, ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best, show us some respect. 3-point threat. I better make it rain. If it's something, don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumping where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, Big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the ref just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostep. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never. Say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly down, I'm a